Pixar has made me feel things in a movie theater that no other studio on earth has ever managed to pull off. And every single time a new Toy Story drops, I walk in asking the same question. Can they still do it? Can they still make a room full of adults tear up over an animated toys movie? I just saw Toy Story 5 opening day and I have a lot to say. Welcome back to Moody at the Movies, and I'm your host, Mr. Moody. And this is the channel where I see movies in theaters and then I immediately need to come on here and talk to someone about them. I use my 5-scale popcorn bucket rating system, 5 being the movie was worth every kernel of popcorn, and 1 being they burned the popcorn. And today's review is just my real honest reaction and no fluff. So without further ado, let's see where Toy Story 5 ultimately lands. Here's what Toy Story 5 actually is. And for the first time in this entire franchise, Jessie is our main character, not Woody. So Jessie, she's been taking care of Bonnie as her sheriff since Woody left at the end of Toy Story 4. And everything is going just fine until Bonnie gets her first tablet, a device called Lilypad. And just like that, Bonnie starts pulling away from all of her toys. She's embarrassed to even still be playing with her toys. Bonnie would rather be on a screen, and it's ultimately just up to Jessie to figure out how to reach a kid who doesn't even realize she needs reaching. In Toy Story 5, we have the whole original gang back. We have Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz, Joan Cusack as Jessie. We have Forky, Rex, Ham, Slinky, and just the whole crew. Plus some new characters, including a kid named Blaze who becomes really important to Bonnie's story. And we also have a potty training device voiced by Conan O'Brien that I just absolutely have to get into. That's the setup for Toy Story 5, so let's get into what actually happened in this film. Let me start with what genuinely blew me away about this movie, because it did not go where I thought this was going to go. My biggest concern going in was that this was going to be the most predictable thing Pixar has ever put out. Toys good, tablets bad, put down your screens, classic. But this is Pixar, and Pixar is smarter than that. The way Toy Story 5 handles the technology concept is genuinely nuanced, and I want to be very clear about what I mean by this. Because this movie is not anti-technology by any means. It's not telling you that tablets are evil and you should throw them away. What it's actually doing is asking much more interesting questions. What does technology do to the way kids connect with each other? Not just the screen addiction angle. It goes way deeper than that. And there are specific moments and lines of dialogue in this movie about what technology does to children socially that just stopped me in my seat. And what I really appreciate about this movie, Toy Story 5, is that it never preaches to you. It understands that technology is here to stay, and there's nothing that we can do about it as a society. Even Lilypad in this movie, she gets a redemption arc towards the end of the movie, which we'll get into a little later. But that just lets you know that not all technology is evil. It's how we use the technology. And that's what Pixar is trying to showcase here throughout this movie. The real message that Pixar is trying to send is that disconnection is the real enemy and not the device itself. And from that standpoint, that's what really won me over. Here's the part of the movie that genuinely moved me. And I want to take a second with this because I don't think it's getting talked about enough. Bonnie's story in this movie is not just a kid on a tablet story. It's about a kid who is ashamed to still play with toys. A kid who feels like she has to hide that part of herself because in this world she's growing up in right now, playing with toys and using your imagination, that stuff, it just all feels uncool. And through that story, the movie just brings in a new character named Blaze. And Blaze, she is a girl who still loves to play and is not embarrassed about it at all. And watching Bonnie, as this movie goes on, watching her find a friend and someone who makes her feel like it's okay to be who she is, that really hit me. Because that is real. It's happening to kids right now, all over the world. Kids want to go outside and play with the toys. So a lot of these kids want the simpler things in life. And then you have another group of kids that they love their devices. They love going online to play games all day. So there's just a disconnect, and that's what Pixar is really trying to bring out in this film. So Pixar is really trying to get a message across, telling kids, no, here's what really matters. Friendships, being a kid, using your imagination, and having fun outside. having fun with your toys. That's the message that came across with Toy Story 5. And Pixar doesn't lecture you about it. It shows you constantly throughout the movie, especially through Bonnie and Blaze. And that's just what I thought was genuinely beautiful about this film. And I'll finally say this, they finally did Bonnie some justice in this movie. If Toy Story 4 didn't make you care about Bonnie the same way you cared about Andy and all of the previous Toy Story movies, this one definitely fixes that. They put real effort into getting you inside of Bonnie's head. And by the time this movie hit its emotional beats with her, I was just immediately invested in her character. I want to talk about Jessie specifically, because making her the lead of this entire movie was a bold decision, and it completely paid off. Joan Cusack's voice performance is outstanding in this film. Just every moment of frustration, love, and genuine fear. You just feel it all through the screen and throughout the entirety of this film. This is the best Jessie has ever been in any installment of this franchise, in my opinion. And there is one specific line in this movie that stopped the air in my lungs. Jessie says, "I can't do this again. I can't love another kid just to find out I never mattered." And if you know Jessie's backstory, her first owner, Emily, who grew up and left her behind, you know exactly why the line hits the way it hits. Because Jessie has been through this before. She knows what it feels like to be forgotten by someone she gave everything to. And now she's watching it start to happen again with Bonnie. And Joan Cusack just absolutely delivers that line in a way that just made my chest hurt. I felt it through the screen. That hit hard. And that right there is Pixar at its absolute best. That's where the Pixar magic comes in. They take a kid's movie about animated toys and they make you feel something. They make you feel something real and devastating about love and fear, about not caring to the people that you love most. That's the reason this franchise has lasted 30 years, and that's also why I think Toy Story 5 really belongs up there with one of the best Toy Story films. That's the reason this franchise has lasted 30 years. And Toy Story 5 deserves its place in that legacy with moments like that one. Okay, here's a moment in the movie that was my favorite moment, and everyone's gonna be talking about this one. So Jessie and Buzz, they've been doing this dance since Toy Story 2. And it's been almost 27 years of constant teasing and moments, playful bickering, and just moments where you think, okay, this is it. Jessie and Buzz, they're finally about to do it. And then nothing happens. So just every Toy Story movie since part 2, it's been teasing this relationship. And I'm glad to say, in Toy Story 5, towards the end of this film, Jessie and Buzz, they're on a highway and they're being flown around by an entire army of Buzz Lightyears. And she kisses him. She just goes for it and she saves him the trouble. She leans in and she kisses him as Buzz is struggling to find the words to tell her how he feels about her. And the whole theater, we just all completely lost it. We were overwhelmed with joy. Pixar had finally delivered, and they did it in a way that it felt earned. It just felt right. It felt like them. If you grew up rooting for Jessie and Buzz and shipping them, this scene is definitely going to be one of your favorites in the film, like it was for me. Let me talk about Conan O'Brien for a second, because I genuinely was not ready for how funny this character is. He voices a potty training device called Smarty Pants, and yes, that is exactly why this is the first Toy Story movie rated PG instead of G. There's a lot of potty humor throughout this movie, a lot of pee and poop jokes, and honestly, it completely works. Now for the honest part, because that's exactly what this channel is about. Toy Story 5 by no means is a perfect movie, and it definitely does have its flaws that come with it. The first act is messy. There are multiple storylines being set up at the same time. You have Jessie and Bonnie, the army of Buzz Lightyears, Woody coming back in, and just for a stretch it feels genuinely scattered. The Buzz Army storyline specifically confused me for the first half of the movie. I wasn't sure what the point of it was or where it was going now. It does all come together and it pays off by the end of the movie, and I completely understood why it was there. And it was a really satisfying conclusion, but at the beginning, I was kind of just lost and confused, and that was the real issue. Another thing, since this movie is focused on Bonnie's and Jessie's story, we don't get a lot of screen time for all the supporting cast members that we all grew up to know and love. Like Rex, Ham, Slinky, The little green aliens, just a lot of the toys you grew up loving, they get maybe one line in this whole movie. The cast of this franchise has gotten so big that some of your favorites just end up in the background. And as a fan, it's a little bittersweet. But here's the thing, none of that really ruined the movie for me. It just might be, for some of you, it might be the determining factor of whether you really love this movie or is you just walk out of the theater liking the movie. Before I give you my final rating on Toy Story 5, if you've been watching this long and you've liked the reviews so far, consider subscribing. I drop a new video every time something new in theater comes out that's worth talking about. Alright, let's get into the final verdict of Toy Story 5. Alright, bottom line, Toy Story 5 is a worthy entry in one of the greatest franchises in cinema history. And I say that as a genuine fan who walked in with real expectations. The technology concept is smarter and more nuanced than you expect. The message about kids, connection, and what actually matters in childhood is one of the most honest things Pixar has put on a screen in years. And Jessie finally gets her spotlight and completely earns it. Joan Cusack carries this movie on her back and makes it look extremely effortless. The Bonnie and Blaze friendship, it gives this movie a real emotional core, and that highway scene with Buzz, 27 years in the making. It's worth every single second. Is it this movie perfect? No. The first act is messy and some of your favorite toys get one line and that's it. And it doesn't hit the emotional heights of likes of Toy Story 3. But it comes closer than anything since. And for the 5th installment of the franchise to still be making me feel something real, I think that's remarkable. My rating for this movie is 4 out of 5 popcorn buckets. Grab the large, go with some friends or family, see this movie with a group of people that grew up watching Toy Story. You won't regret it. Alright guys, that's my honest take on Toy Story 5, and now I want to hear from you. If you've seen it, drop your rating in the comments right now. Did the Jessie and Buzz moment get you? Was this better or worse than you expected? I genuinely read every single comment and I want to know where you landed on this one. If you're new here and you like this style of a review, honest, no fluff, hit subscribe. I post every single time something new in theaters comes out, and if it's worth talking about it, I'll bring it to you guys. But that's going to be it for me. I hope you enjoyed this Toy Story 5 review, and I'll see you at the movies.